Alright, guys.
I
I don't know why I keep opening up the YouTube video saying, alright, guys, it's not alright. Because we're about to see the dark reality of the Hollywood body human transformation by Patrick Cece. So get
Some
your
actors
popcorn,
get
get your
dangerously
zins,
skinny.
you know, roll up a spliffy, get your Dominoes, whatever the hell, and you know, either buck up, shut up, or nut up.
Others get suspiciously muscular. Some drank
Maybe all
gallons
three.
of melted ice cream to gain weight
Definitely.
quickly, whereas others were forced to take pills by producers before they were 18 years old.
Oh yeah, I actually did hear about this, chat. What's it called? When they were making what is it called? The Wizard of Oz, dude. The Wizard of Oz is actually such a cursed movie. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the members were getting poisoned by some of the production equipment there. Like, they were actually getting poisoned. And like some of them were actually getting like arsenic poison or whatever, and they were literally dying while while filming this. And then the lead actress, she was getting poisoned as well, you know, because she was there. And then on top of that, she was like coked out and on like, you know, on Xanax and all these freaking drugs, and was like barely eating and taking mad like Adderall and all this nonsense just to be able to film this, dude. That's why her like performance is like so spot on. Apparently, it's like crazy. It's crazy.
This is not standard acting protocol. These are actors who risk serious injury or death all for the sake of a role, and in some cases, the damage lasted the rest of their lives. Today we are looking at the dark side of Hollywood body transformations, starting with Tom Hanks, who's lucky he did not pass away while filming Castaway. In the film, Hanks plays the role of Chuck Noland, a FedEx executive whose plane crashes into the Pacific Ocean, leaving him stranded on an island for 4 years. At the time, Hanks's natural body weight was around 185 pounds, but his physical stature in real life would not accurately match the character he was portraying. So for the early scenes before the crash, where Chuck is still living a normal, comfortable life, Tom intentionally packed on nearly 50 pounds to reflect a man who eats all your favorite calorie-dense comfort foods like burgers, fries, and milkshakes. Gaining the weight was essential to make the body transformation even more dramatic, going
even more
from
realistic,
slightly overweight to dangerously underweight. After filming the first half of the movie, production shut down for an entire year so Hanks could lose the weight and come back looking like someone who'd been surviving off coconuts and fish. And this is where things got brutal. He went on an extreme diet, eating mostly vegetables, fish, and drinking water. Ain't nothing wrong with that though.
The real deal, yo.
No sugar,
real deal,
no refined carbs, no red meat, basically just enough food to keep him standing. To burn even more calories, he added daily cardio, running and swimming every day. By the time filming resumed, he looked like a completely different person. On top of the dangerous weight loss, Hanks got a small cut on his knee that seemed harmless at first until it got infected and turned into a serious problem. His body didn't have enough nutrients to fight it off. He said,
Dude, my man full on just went Ted Bear on this, yo. He just went Jurassic World on this crap. He was like, you know, fuck it. We don't need to improvise. We're just gonna, you know, no CGI, no nothing. We're just gonna full on straight do it, hog wild style.
Infection from a cut, and it was eating its way through my leg. I didn't know it, I just thought I had a sore. He ended up in the hospital for 3 days, and the film production was shut down for almost 3 weeks. But it gets worse. Years later, Tom revealed he had developed type 2 diabetes, and his doctors told him it was partially because of how often he had pushed his body to extreme lengths for roles, with Castaway being one of the worst. Even though the film earned him an Oscar nomination and is considered one of his best performances, it also may have left him with permanent health issues. And while Tom Hanks transformed while chasing an Oscar, 50 Cent risked his life for a film that nobody saw. No awards, no acclaim, just a brutal weight cut for a role that did not give him the credibility he was hoping for.
50 Cent
quick, have you ever Googled your name and seen yourself on one of those strange sites that has way too much information about you? Flood Cent, make the property, take care of myself, and have a digital was found on the VP foods ready to. And those two vulnerable things fall apart. He wrote there. In 2011, 50 Cent released a film called All Things Fall Apart. He wrote it, financed it, starred in it, and most people have never heard of it. But during filming, he went through one of the most extreme physical transformations any actor has ever attempted. He played Dion Barnes, a top college football player who gets diagnosed with cancer. The character starts the movie healthy and muscular, then rapidly declines into a frail, sickly version of himself. And 50 decided to show that transformation for real. It wasn't just a creative decision, It was personal. Growing up, one of 50's closest friends died from cancer. He said that memory stuck with him, and if he was going to play someone going through that, he felt he had to get it right.
I had a friend of mine that died of cancer growing up. You know, so it was exciting. And when I was making the physical transformation, I concentrated on how he actually looked to me.
Yeah, that
His
sucks,
routine
Chad.
sounds simple, but it nearly
Especially
killed
since I
him.
have
Every
you don't
day he
remember the
ran on a
family that has
treadmill for a
cancer?
total of 3 hours. When the fatigue set in, he'd slow to a walk, but he never stopped completely. Plus, he was doing this while barely eating anything of substance. Just a liquid-only diet. No processed food, barely any calories, just protein shakes, coconut water, and unsweetened juice. With so few calories, his
Must be
body
tough,
burned through
yeah.
all the fat and most of his muscle.
Cause like, yo, I can't, man. Like, I already start feeling weak up to just not eating for like two or 3 days, you know? Jesus Christ, that's just only a liquid diet. That's actually insanity.
And the side effects were obvious. He looked unrecognizable. His cheeks were sunken in, his frame looked like skin and bones, and his eyes looked visibly exhausted. He later admitted he was constantly lightheaded and had to mentally force himself not to eat. I was starving. I would have to restrain myself. I had to discipline myself not
That's
to
insane.
actually eat. When the transformation was complete, he had lost 54 pounds in just 9 weeks, dropping from 214 to 160,
Damn.
which may not
3
sound
months.
extreme to some, but when you're naturally a big guy like 50 Cent, that kind of weight loss can be seriously dangerous. And although 50 took the role as seriously as anyone could, the film didn't do nearly as well as he hoped. It had a small budget and barely got distributed. After bouncing around a few film festivals, it eventually landed on BET a year later, but it received no awards and
Bet.
barely got any
Yo,
attention. And the craziest part about this was that nobody asked him to do it. The director didn't tell him to drop the weight. It
Yeah,
wasn't
he
in the
just did
script
it.
nor in the contract. 50 just wanted to prove to everyone that he could be a serious actor and dedicate the film to his late friend. It did not earn him the Hollywood credibility he was chasing, but it still stands as one of the most extreme body transformations any actor has ever done. People have used photos of this role to
Hey, at least
mock
he kind of did achieve it though, because now you're in that same sentence you said that it didn't get what he wanted, but it kind of did get what he wanted, because his whole goal, from what you just said, was to become a serious actor, was to prove that he can become a serious actor. So, and you now saying that you are kind of admitting that he is a serious actor, or at least acknowledging that he can act, and that, you know, he is an actor.
50 or troll him, because out of context it could look funny,
And
but it's
especially if you're gonna do
arguably
that,
one of the
yeah,
most
I'm gonna
impressive
go ahead and
things
call
he
him
has
an
done
actor.
in
That
his
takes a lot of
entire
dedication.
career. And while 50 Cent pushed himself by choice, Judy Garland was
Oh my God, here we go,
forced.
yep.
Her breakout role demanded
Yep.
intense weight loss, grueling hours,
No,
and
she was
pills
forced.
just to function. And what producers did to her
Popping
was
pillies,
far
yo.
darker than anyone could have
Like, yo.
imagined. Judy Garland was
This girl was literally on some like Rehypnol, yo. No, not Rehypnol. That's crazy. They literally had on some. I think it was like damn it, what is it called? I don't know if it was like Ritalin or something. No. What's that other thing called? The one that, damn it. What the hell is it called? I just said it like 2 minutes ago before I started recording. Oh, a couple seconds ago. They literally had her on like Xanax, like Adderall, all this nonsense, so she would stay up without eating, like
was just 16
and some other
years
drugs. It
old
was
when she
insane. They were
played
just
Dorothy
pumping her
in
full
the
of shit.
classic 1939 film The Wizard of Oz.
Excuse me.
It became the most iconic role of her career, but behind the scenes, it was nothing like the wholesome movie.
And ironically, Oda, the creator of One Piece, he shares the same sentiments that I do towards this movie. I personally fucking hate this movie, dude. Like, I think the whole movie in itself is hogwash. Like you know, the reward or whatever it is the friends you make along the way. That's such a cop out, dude. Like, you know, give them actual treasure or some shit, you know. It's like how the Oda said that the One Piece is gonna be an actual tangible treasure, not gonna be some sell. Oh, it's the friendships along the way. Screw that
People
noise.
remember. MGM forced her to do things that would never be
Think that's
acceptable
lazy writing.
today. From the moment she was cast, the studio told her she did not look the part. Even though she was still a teenager, executives said she looked too mature and too heavy to play a young girl. So they put her on a brutal,
Hey, yo.
restrictive diet that consisted of black coffee, chicken soup, lettuce, and cigarettes. No real
Black
meals and
coffee?
barely any
Yo,
calories. And that
cigarettes
wasn't even the worst
part of
part.
your diet
MGM gave
is
the 16-year-old
crazy for a
drugs to
kid,
keep
dude.
her working as many hours as possible. To keep her weight down and her energy up, they gave her what they called pep-up pills, which were just amphetamines. And since the pills kept her
Amphetamines,
wired,
that's
they had
what
to
it
knock
was.
her out at night with barbiturates. She said they'd give us pep-up
Yeah, just
pills to
straight
keep
pump
us
her
on our
filled with
feet
shit.
long after we were exhausted. Then they'd take us to the studio
Pep-up pills.
hospital and knock us
Well, I
out
think I missed the
all
first part
night
'cause I was
with
getting
barbiturates.
dust
She
out of my
said
PC.
they pills kept her called hours. Worst part. MGM gave the 16-year-old drugs to keep her working as many hours as possible. To keep her weight down and
Whose
her
idea
energy
was to do
up,
this
they gave
crap?
her what they called
Pump her full of
pep-up
drugs,
pills,
freaking
which
kid.
were just amphetamines. And since the pills kept her wired,
Yeah,
they had to
amphetamine,
knock her
that's
out
what I'm
at
missing.
night with barbiturates. She said they'd give us pep-up pills to keep us on our feet long after
Peppa
we
Pig?
were exhausted. Then they'd take us to the studio
the culprit of
hospital
this?
and knock us
Is
out
he
with
producing
sleeping
these?
pills. On top of the pills and starvation, MGM modified her physical appearance. She wore a tight corset to flatten her chest, rubber discs in her nose to narrow its shape, and dental caps to fix her
Rubber
smile.
discs
The
in her
iconic
nose?
Dorothy
Oh
look
my
was
God.
manufactured down to the smallest detail. Studio head Louis
Oh my
B.
God.
Meyer, one of
The
the
rubber
most
disc in
powerful
her
men in
nose?
Hollywood at the time, would walk up behind her and place his hands on her chest to fix her posture. Judy later said she felt completely
What the f-
powerless. She couldn't speak out or push back because she knew her entire career would be over. And keep in mind, she was only 16 years old at the time. The Wizard
That's
of Oz became a
insane.
massive hit that will be remembered for generations, and Judy's performance turned her into a star, but it came at a cost. The same pills that kept her working as a teenager became a
what cost?
lifelong addiction. Judy Garland tragically died of a barbiturate overdose at just 47 years old. If she never did The Wizard of Oz, she might have never become a Hollywood star. Then again, she probably would not have died so young. We've
Yeah,
seen
she'd probably
actors
still be
rapidly
alive.
lose weight by basically eating nothing but air, and then there's Rob McElhenney, who ate a ton of ice cream to make himself look like a slob. Again, nobody asked Rob to do this. His inspiration came from watching the legendary sitcom Friends. As the seasons evolved, the entire cast seemed to level up, appearing better looking due to larger paychecks, to consume healthier foods, afford dietitians, and the pressure to maintain Hollywood beauty standards.
I don't know why I
Rob
just
thought
saw
it would be
this and, like, just
hilarious to
instantly
have
thought of
the
the 2.5
opposite
Men theme song.
transformation as his show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, got more successful.
And I thought I'd never seen a show in which the characters or the actors specifically tried to look worse as the show progressed. And I thought that if there was ever going to be a show in which that would make sense, then this would be it. So I embraced it, and I decided to look as terrible as possible. And gaining 50 pounds was a huge part of that.
Rob discovered the secret to gaining weight: drink as many calories as possible.
I would have my assistant in the morning go out
That's
and
a
buy
fact.
a pint.
So as I
not a
started
pint,
drinking
but
alcohol
gallon
a
of
lot
ice
more.
cream, and he would
Okay,
put it
wait,
out
that's
on the
why I stopped
counter,
drinking as
and I
much.
wouldn't eat it until 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it would melt, and I would drink it.
You would drink melted ice cream.
Yeah, because you can drink that many calories a day, you can't eat that many calories. At least I can't.
He started having chest pains, and his doctor begged him to stop attempting to gain weight. However, it paid off, because Fat Mac produced some of the funniest moments in It's Always Sunny history.
What is your confession?
Fat Mac.
Fat. Oh, what's up, bitch? I did it! I'm 200 pounds. I'm as big as my avatar.
I'm as big as my avatar. It's crazy.
Bigger than you, bro?
Yo, I gotta watch this Sunny in Philadelphia.
You have type 2 adult onset diabetes.
I mean, they're delicious.
Adult
They're
onset
full of carbs,
diabetes.
which is great for a pump, and they're cheap as
Just great for a pump.
The best part about Fat Mac was the redemption arc,
Yeah,
as he was able to
well,
use this as an
anniversary,
opportunity
fuck
to get
that.
ripped beyond belief and shock the whole crew.
Okay, everybody, are you ready? Bam! All right, what's up?
What's going on?
Oh,
Bam.
well, I got into really good shape.
I don't really know what's going on here.
You look like a baby.
Oh my God,
We're
Mindy's
not
in
gonna,
there.
why did I do it?
Nobody knows.
We don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
so-
I
Put my
have a
shirt on.
great plan.
I think that's best.
But
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats, Mac. It looks really good.
Good job.
Can we figure out?
Crazy thing is that Rob trained for months to get ripped just for a 2-minute joke. Now that's dedication. In a weirder twist,
insane,
when
dude.
Chrissy Metz was cast
I'm not
as
gonna lie, I would have been so pissed, dude, if that was the line too. Like it was just like, you know, you taking off your shirt and Loki showing everybody what your hard work, and everybody just kind of be like, yeah, well, whatever. Dude, like that would Oh man, that would suck.
Kate
You
in
know?
This Is Us, producers actually wanted her to stay heavier to reflect the character's ongoing struggles with weight. Now, it's no secret that Chrissy was already plus-sized in real life, but it shows what Hollywood producers might demand to bring their vision to the big screen.
They were like, we have to fit you for a fat suit. I was like, what? And I remember getting measured at the costume house, and they're like, it's gonna be 109 inches. I'm like, oh, okay. They called it the couch. Like, that's what we ended up calling it on the shoot was, oh, here's Chrissy's couch, because it's basically couch cushions. There's a story that I literally got stuck in my trailer. We had a separate dressing tent because I couldn't go in and out of my trailer. So we had it on the stage or on location, wherever we were. And one day I forgot my phone, or I forgot something that was important. I ran back and I got stuck in the trailer. And I thought, who's gonna find me?
And this kind of begs the question if actors actually need to change their
That song
bodies.
kinda went hard.
With CGI and a little bit of movie magic, anything is possible. And some actors straight up refuse to make a drastic change, like Robert Pattinson, who took a different path when preparing for The Batman. Robert deliberately avoided
Yeah,
the
I know
intense
about
bulking
this.
routines typical of superhero portrayals. In a 2020 interview with GQ, he said, "I think if you're working out all the time, you're a part of the problem. You set a precedent. No one was even doing this in the 70s. Even James Dean, he wasn't exactly ripped." This stance was clearly the opposite to previous Batman actors. But the thing is, Pattinson still had a great physique. He did some training, including bodyweight exercises, long-distance runs, and military-style sandbag workouts. By no means was he scrawny
Damn,
or
that's
out
pretty
of shape.
impressive.
A lot of the feelings that
Yeah.
Robert did not do enough come from the
How much
fact that
time and
Hollywood
dedication
body
that takes?
standards have changed significantly. Because Tobey Maguire's body transformation for Spider-Man back in the day was being treated like he transformed into a world-class athlete.
What'd you do? You do special workout? Because when you finally turn into Spider-Man, you're muscular as hell. Well, how did that work? How do you get that size?
I worked out for 5 months, 6 days a week, up to 4 hours a day.
And do you eat more food when you do that?
Had a nutritionist, and I was eating 4 to 6 meals a day, lots of protein.
Back in 2002, Tobey Maguire built an impressive physique while preparing for his role as Spider-Man. But if you looked at him today with the exact same build, some people would say it doesn't even compare to other actors' dedication, because now actors are expected to look like bodybuilders when...
Wait. Hold on. What did he say about Toby?
Significantly,
Kind of spaced
because
out for a
Tobey
second.
Maguire's body transformation for Spider-Man back in the day was being treated like he transformed into a world-class athlete.
What'd you do? You do special workout? Because when you finally...
Wait, that wasn't his actual like body type? Yo, what's going on, dude? That wasn't his actual body. I thought Tobey Maguire was just always kind of ripped. That's actually even more impressive. So that stacking on top of the fact that scene where he catches all like the cartons and stuff, that was all like done, you know, that was all one take. Like, I don't know if it took one shot to record it, but I do know like that scene where he catches all like the, you know, where like Mary Jane falls and like her tray of food, you know, goes up in the air and like he catches it and catches her and like, you know, catches all the food on it perfectly. That was all like real. That was not CGI. He actually did that. So the fact they did the end is also
turn
like,
into
damn,
Spider-Man,
man,
you're
that's pretty
muscular as
crazy.
hell. Well, how did that work? How do you get that size?
I worked out for 5 months, 6 days a week, up to 4 hours a day.
And do you eat more food when you do
Holy
that?
I had
crap.
a nutritionist, and I was eating 4 to 6 meals a day, lots of protein.
Damn.
Back in 2002,
I could barely
Tobey
even eat
Maguire
one
built
meal
an
a day.
impressive physique while preparing
Yeah,
for his
dude.
role as
Sometimes
Spider-Man.
if you wanna be
But
ripped,
if
you
you looked
got
at him
that
today
money.
with the exact same build, some people would say it doesn't even compare to other actors' dedication, because now actors are expected to look like bodybuilders when playing a superhero. And look, I'm not making any accusations out here, but there are tons of
Facto
credible
mundo.
resources on the internet that suggest that some of your favorite actors are
Like modern day, you literally need to look like Shazbra or The Rock, or you know, or like Brock Lesnar, or like Sam Solnick or something, or like Greg Duchetti, in order for like people to be like, whoa, dude. Like you basically have to be like pumping roids or some shit.
out here doing a little jabby jab to get that
People, like,
Terminator
suck you
look
off.
they so desperately want. So when Robert Pattinson showed up in The Batman with a body that looked, well, naturally attainable, people wanted to criticize him as a bodybuilder and steroid
Nah, I didn't criticize that movie one bit, dude. If anybody was around in my streams or at that time, I came back from the movie. Me and my boy Alonzo discussed it. Hell no, I actually agreed with everything that they did in that movie. Loved that movie. That movie was so good, and it was so accurate too, because everybody was like, "Oh, why isn't he this? Why isn't he that?" Why? Like at first, I was like, "Oh, you know, why is he fighting so sloppy? You know, what is he kind of like ass and blah blah blah." But people forget that they literally said in an interview, and they literally said before the fucking movie came out, and I'm thinking in like a trailer, they literally said that it's year one Batman. They specifically said it was year numero uno Batman. You know what that means? That means he just literally started to put on the cape and the helmet and everything. He just started fighting people, so he's obviously gonna be ass at fighting multiple people at once. The most that he's done that in at that point was like, you know, fighting Ra's al Ghul's men and like the League of Shadows. But that's like, well, people like to admit it or not, fighting like a group of like well-trained fighters is much different than fighting a group of like, you know, Rugrats or like just regular brawlers. Like in my opinion, I would probably rather fight the trained people, because you know they're trained, so they know how to, you know, hold back when they need to, and they know how to, like, you know, do shit properly, I guess, versus like, you know, fighting a bunch of street brawlers, like a bunch of thugs in on the street. Like, you're probably, you know, thugs on the street are probably more unorthodox, and they're also more unpredictable. Like you could like somebody who's like well trained at something can tend to be more predictable when you're fighting them, especially if you're somebody like Batman. You know how to handle yourself. You could, you know, you have the opportunity to like predict their movements more than somebody who's like, you know, just like for instance, like fighting me would probably be so unpredictable for Batman. Like he would probably like dispatch me. He would like fuck me up in like 30 seconds, but you know, I would just be like flailing my arms, you know, completely unpredictable shit. To bodybuilding proteins so accessible, there are genuine teens in my gym that look better than that. Yeah, for real. That's because of all the stuff in that protein. Like, be pumping it with stuff. But to my point with the whole Batman stuff, like everybody was like literally shitting. That was another thing that people were shitting on that Batman movie for, because you know, they're like, oh, Batman's fighting his like, but Batman's fighting his ass and yada yada yada. And it's like, dude, how are you not understanding that this is like year one Batman? He doesn't have all his gadgets, you know. I'm pretty sure at this point he doesn't even have you know, Fox, the dude making all his gadgets. Like, he doesn't have nothing, dude. So obviously it's gonna be doo-doo.
I find it.
And he's also not gonna be like so like, you know, as ripped either. So his body made perfect sense
Criminal
as well.
how widespread
I don't even know what people were
usage
hating
and
about.
denial of usage of PEDs is in Hollywood. It puts in a lot of effed up body image issues, and then they go on and do news stories about X, Y, or Z workout or diet or trendy fitness thing that helped them achieve their goals. Meanwhile, they'd be looking very different without the large amounts of PEDs they're using. Actors don't necessarily need to be jacked to play the role, because Batman is the world's greatest detective, and that alone is enough to tell his stories.
Like, he doesn't need to be ripped, dude. And that's another thing. Like, it's Batman. Like, I don't even know what people were like. Yeah, Batman is, you know, is technically supposed to be a little bit more ripped than the average guy, but that's like your average guy. Like, your average guy probably looks like me, you know, like little beer belly, you know, average like strength, you know, like. I don't know. Like, I don't know what people were expecting Batman to be, like some Captain America, Steve Rogers, super serum, you know, like just like on some Yujiro Hanma shit. You know, you've got a six-pack on your neck, you got a six-pack on your arms, you got a six-pack on your, like, nah, dude. It's literally Batman. That's why he has all these gadgets, dude. He's not inherently
Robert
that strong.
Pattinson's body next to Toby's from 2002, it's not that different, but one was called jacked while the other was criticized. It just goes to show what used to be impressive is now considered the bare minimum, and what used to be the bare minimum doesn't even.
Yeah, and that's also too why it was more impressive back in the day when Toby did it, because when Toby did it, you know, there was like less like chemicals and stuff in the proteins and all that stuff that people were taking and
make
eating.
It past the audition. And while some question Pattinson's
versus now,
dedication,
you know, like you could even tell that it's in our food, because like, for instance, like look at like kids back in the day, like for instance, like look at kids from elementary school to high school back in the day. They actually look like kids their age versus nowadays, dude. You'll go to a school, you'll be, you know, you'll be outside, you know, walking, you know, you'll be walking outside and you'll see like a fucking girl, and you know, you'll be like, oh, dude, she's hot. And then you'll, you know, realize that, you know, you walk close and you realize that this girl's actually like fucking like 10 or some shit. Or like 15, you know? Like from a distance, you know, for instance, like if you're in a car, you're like, oh, dude, that girl's hot. And then when you turn the corner, you realize that you're by a fucking elementary school. And you're like, oh, dude, nasty. That girl's like fucking 12. Like, what the hell? Like that shit happened to me when I was in high school, dude. Like when I was leaving high school and I saw all the new coming freshmen, yo, they actually look like they were like 16, you know, like 18. Some of them look like they were 18. Some of them look like actual adults. Like what the fuck, dude? What the hell? You know, a lot of these kids aren't like us back in the day where, you know, we just wanted to play freaking like, you know, Warhammer or something like Minecraft or, you know, oh,
Christian
man.
Bale went
It's
so
just
far
crazy,
for his
dude.
role that it nearly killed him. When people talk about actors transforming
Can't
their
trust
bodies to
nothing
the
nowadays.
extreme for a role, Christian Bale in The Machinist always comes up. In the 2004 film, Bale plays Trevor Resnick, a factory worker so plagued by guilt and paranoia that he hadn't slept in a year. Obviously, a guy like that would not look too healthy, so instead of relying on CGI or special effects, Bale decided he'd actually become that guy in real life. He dropped down to an insanely low 120 pounds, which is scary considering he's 6 foot tall. That's the kind of weight that would put most people in a hospital
he's
bed,
6 foot tall?
not on a movie set. His diet wasn't just restrictive, it was borderline starvation. For months, he survived exactly on 1 can of tuna and 1 apple per day.
Oh my God.
No processed sugar,
That's
no real
crazy.
fat, basically 0 nutrients. To keep hunger at bay, Bale smoked cigarettes constantly and chugged black coffee just to have enough energy to stay awake. He initially wanted to push it even further to around 100 pounds, but the producers had to step in because they thought he actually might die. He changed so drastically, it makes anyone else who lost weight for
That's
a role look like they
insane,
did
dude.
not even try. He lost all muscle mass, his skin became paper thin, and his bones stuck out in every scene. Bale later described it as feeling like his body did not even belong to him. He was so malnourished that he'd sometimes zone out and completely forget where he was while filming. Even basic tasks like standing up or walking up a flight of stairs became exhausting. He said, when you're so skinny that you can hardly walk up a flight of stairs, you're like this being a pure thought. It's like you've abandoned your body. The drastic weight loss left Bale visibly emaciated. Immediately after filming wrapped, Bale faced another body transformation challenge. He had to rapidly bulk up to 220 pounds in just 6
Batman.
months
Yeah,
for
I
his
remember
next
that.
role
He did
as
Batman
Batman
right after
Begins.
this.
Although The Machinist wasn't a major
Yeah, but that being said, Batman, yo, probably like I'm pretty sure him, and what's that guy's name? The guy who made Christopher Nolan. I'm pretty sure him and Chris Nolan both got knighted in England for their work on Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, because that movie was, like, bro, amazing, dude. Kind of makes me want to, you know, just cut this video right now and just watch Batman, dude. You know, when somebody ends their stream, it all goes according to plan. But when I end my stream, everybody loses their freaking minds.
success following its release, Bale's physical transformation turned it into a cult classic, earning him a reputation as one of Hollywood's most extreme method actors. And we all know that method actors are so incredibly dedicated to their roles that they can often go insane, even potentially losing their lives for their art. But if you want to hear more about that, check out this video.
Oh man, but yeah, dude, like that's crazy. It's honestly crazy, body transformation and shit. It's honestly crazy to me how like the you know, like how each generation progresses back to like what I was saying earlier, like how each generation progresses to evolve through time, dude. Like it's crazy. Like I wonder what the next generation is gonna look like, you know, when we're like 40 and they're being born. Like, dude, the kids nowadays, dude, are like 13, 4, like, you know, they're like 12, 11 already like knowing what weed is and all this stuff. Like, dude, I didn't even know what weed was till I was like 15, 16. That's insane to me. Anyways, it's enough talking about this crap. Catch you guys in the next video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Patrick. And then make sure to do that to my channel. Make sure to check out my Kick and my Twitch. I'll leave the links to everything in the description below. And I will catch you guys in the next video, y'all.